Hello, I'm Curtis Shelast. On behalf of my siblings, I will share our memories of Jim. James William Shelast was born January 15th, 1965, seventh child and sixth son of Mary and Joe Shelast. Younger brother to Rick, Dave, Bob, Joe, Cynthia, and me, Curtis. Older brother to Janice. Growing up in the Shelast household in Mandera can be described as nothing less than interesting. I asked my siblings, what are the things you can say and remember about Jim that we could share? He was our little brother with a big heart, always willing to lend a helping hand. He was witty and had a great sense of humor. He loved family. His extended family was special. The nieces and nephews loved him too. He loved sports. He played ball, golfed, curled, played hockey and volleyball. Loved the Oilers even though they frustrated the heck out of him. He was always helping others, never one to miss an opportunity to lend a helping hand, and always the last to leave. He was generous, not just with his time, but would more than contribute and share. Growing up, Jim and I did a lot of things together and built many friendships in the community. Whether it was walking to the old skating rink, shoveling off the snow, warming up hands, and burning a hole in the gloves on the potbelly stove, riding bikes in town, or playing kick-the-can on Main Street, we did a lot of things together with our friends. Playing football in Yakrina Park, cricket at the town park, and later skating and playing hockey in the arena, the town kids had a lot of fun. We often found some trouble, though. I think Jim would tell you I was the one that would get him involved, and then we'd face the consequences together when we got home to Dad. At home, we had a lot of chores to complete. Cutting lawn and picking weeds, feeding chickens, cleaning out the garden in the fall had its moments. Jim, as we know, was a very good ball player and had a very good arm. When the potato picking was left to Jim and me, we would take the small ones that were going to be left in the garden and throw them. Pick a road sign or two or target a boxcar on a moving train that would pass by. We figured out that it was easier to throw them than carry them in. When Mom began working outside the home, Cynthia, Janice, Jim, and I spent a bit more time doing some of the things Mom would have done. We all learned to cook and clean somewhat and leaned on each other. Jim had the uncanny ability to come in the house when either sister had prepared some food. This was indeed a sixth sense, and whenever Mom was preparing one of her feasts, Jim was right there at the table, just as it was being served. Never missed a meal. The basement hockey with Joe and Bob was interesting. Jim was always stuck in the pipes, and he got peppered with shots. Unfortunately, a few high shots would get past him, breaking a basement window behind the net. We took turns going to the hardware store and had the glass replaced, a frequent occurrence. The family, especially Dad, loved fishing and camping. We would often spend weekends camping out and fishing. The lake visits continued with Jim over the years, especially when they went to visit Janice and Nav. The boys would play together, and many memorable nights were spent out by the fire. The nieces and nephews will never forget Uncle Jim. Before he and Mel had kids, Jim would be notorious for riling up any one of them, especially late in the evening, as they were ready to go to bed or home to sleep. He would toss them up in the air and scrape the ceiling, no injuries though. And he'd always buy them gifts, whether it be birthday, Christmas, or other occasions. But I can guarantee you they were the loudest noise-making toys money could buy. He was the godfather of choice in the family. There are many more memories. Trips to Vancouver to see Dave, visiting Bob in Calgary, watching the boys play hockey and baseball, basketball, playing cards, especially Schmear, and just having a good time, and curling in the Mandera men's Bonspiel. Jim has been a positive influence in our lives, and that is not easy, being so young in a large family. He simply did the right things for the right reasons and took the time to consider others first, himself second. His friends growing up and later in sports, business, and community were many and relationships sincere. Our family has benefited so much from Jim throughout his 56 years, and his memory is indelible in our minds and our hearts. We took care of each other, and he went out of his way to make others' lives better. Mel, Michael, and Ryan, we will miss him, and all the Shelast siblings thank you for taking care of our brother.
My name is Melanie Swabb, and I was Jim's wife of 27 years. I could not recall the day that Jim and I first met. We both grew up in small town Mandera and had known of each other our entire lives. But because I was 3 school grades younger than Jim, he largely ignored me for most of our time in Mandera. until shortly before my 18th birthday, for some reason, he suddenly took notice of me. We began dating, and 8 years later, in 1993, we married, settled in Edmonton, and raised our 2 sons, Michael and Ryan. Family life was busy, and at times truly chaotic. The schedule was always full. We spent countless hours in hockey arenas, baseball diamonds, and basketball courts watching our sons play, and Jim loved every minute of it. He was a doting father, always doing for the boys, always trying to make them happy, but he rarely disciplined them. The boys always knew which parent to approach, and it wasn't me. He adored them so much. He was truly proud of them. Jim was also proud of his city and his country, and particularly proud of the success achieved in his company. Jim and his business partners, who were all longtime friends, together operated a company that specialized in paper and packaging for the food service industry. Due to their hard work, the company in recent years flourished. Jim was known to have a bit of a temper, which reliably appeared in response to certain situations. Traffic jams, other drivers on the road, being late for events, definitely his golf game, the Edmonton Oilers, which caused him so much distress, and not being able to find the items that he misplaced on a regular basis. Jim enjoyed many activities: reading, working in the backyard and garden, sports, both as a participant and spectator, TV, music, family trips, especially our annual trips to Fairmont. A perfectly enjoyable evening for Jim would be to sit around a fire pit with a cocktail in his hand, chatting with friends and family. Jim loved to socialize, and he had a knack for making friends easily. If I had to choose one word to describe Jim, it would be altruistic. I think this was his greatest gift to the world. He truly enjoyed doing things simply out of a desire to help others. He rarely complained about doing favors. He was often the first person to raise his hand to volunteer. It was truly remarkable to me. And I think it was how he showed his love for the people that he cared for. Michael, Ryan, and I are so very grateful to Jim for everything he has done for us and the way that he cared for us. He made us feel safe and secure, which is what a good family man does. It is difficult for us to imagine a life without you, Jim. We miss you and will continue to miss you for many years to come. But we will be together again one day. So we say goodbye to you for now. The Lord has taken you home, so that must mean that your work with us here is done. And you did a great job. And now you could rest. So rest in peace, Jim. We love you.
Hello, my name is Byron Swabb, and I have been a friend of Jim's for most of my life, and as a brother-in-law for half of it. My relationship with Jim has changed over the years, as has his name. In the early years of growing up in Mundare, I was best friends with his older brother Curtis. Jamie, as he was referred to back then, was the younger brother who was always hanging around. We weren't always kind to young Jamie in those days. I remember Curtis and I threatening him with violence if he didn't steal cigarettes for us. Jamie pulled off the heist and brought back the stolen goods to our treehouse. After smoking the entire pack in about an hour, we quickly realized that smoking sucks. I believe that experience is why none of us became smokers. I recall playing high school volleyball with James, or as he was known then, James Hound. His similarities to a TV cartoon character who was lanky, clumsy, and had big shoes earned him that nickname. Curtis and I remained close, and we began to play fastball with the Mundare Playboys in the late 70s. In the early 80s, Jim, as he was referred to now, joined our team. My sister Melanie also took an interest in watching me play. Such a great sister. When I came home for weekends, Jim was hanging around the house. It didn't take me long to figure out that it wasn't me that she was watching play. The 5 key tools in every baseball player are speed, power, hitting for average, fielding, and arm strength. Jim had all five. He was one of our top base stealers. He could hit a home run at any time, and he made great plays at first base with his amazing stretch. He won numerous all-star first baseman awards in our league. What he brought on the field was almost as impactful as what he did off of it. He ran the team, organized all the tournaments, and kept the budget. I played for 20 years, and my only out-of-pocket cost was $30 for our original uniform. When money was getting tight, Jim would motivate the boys. He would say, "If we don't win any money this weekend, it's going to come out of our pockets." We never had to pay. There were many years of great times with the Playboys, laughs, companionship, and competition. Jim referred to these days as the best times. We had so much fun, and he was at the center of it all. Many players came and went throughout the years. All of them loved Jimmy, as he was now referred to. He was so popular. His teammates loved his sense of humor and friendly demeanor. Our fastball careers ended with a trip to Victoria to play in the Canadian National Championship. Jim was very proud of this, and of course was the main man getting it organized. With fastball done, we still craved the last friendship and competition that we had had. So we turned to golf. We organized an 8-man Ryder Cup weekend where we would make 2 teams of 4 and play for this trophy. This is where Jimmy's personality really shone through. His humor had us all in stitches, but it was his inner golf demons that were the funniest. Jim would look like a touring pro. Long, powerful, graceful swing that could produce 300-yard drives, but at any moment, bad Jimmy could come out. I've seen him hit a groundskeeper's vehicle. He put a ball on the upper deck patio at Wolf Creek, hit a vehicle in the parking lot at Rocky Mountain House. He would pose like Tiger Woods on a good shot, or throw his little temper tantrum on a bad one, and then ask, "Did any of you guys see where my ball went?" Jimmy had a temper that he would try to control, but at times he would have to let it out by doing his Jimmy jump, throwing a club, or swinging violently at the ground. Then he would compose himself, say something funny, and move on. Jimmy had not been on the winning golf team for a few years and was getting discouraged with his play. He would give his retirement speech, but at the end of the weekend, but next spring he would be back again, cracking jokes and full of hope. Last year, Jim's team was victorious. He played well and was very happy. Even though I was on the losing team, I am so grateful that he had won. There were many unexpected shots that went his team way that weekend, almost like there was divine intervention. I will miss those days with him. I was proud to call him my brother-in-law and prouder to call him my friend. We will all see you again soon enough. Rest in peace, Jim.